The Kremlin is lying to its citizens about the war it started in Ukraine. Russian broadcasters and fake social media videos are helping it tell the story.
Здравствуйте. Вы смотрите открытый урок Института воспитания «Защитники мира».
We watched hours of state broadcasts and spoke with expert fact-checkers to understand how Russia is twisting the picture in a war that it won't even call a war. Russian networks say their troops are winning in a battle against Nazis.
Наши ребята там разят гадину фашистскую.
Правильно, но
это правильно
все.
Да дайте мне договорить.
Да.
Это триумф русского оружия, это триумф русской армии, это возрождение России.
They're pushing the narrative that the US, NATO, and Ukraine itself did everything to provoke the conflict.
The United States is providing weapons for the sole purpose of empowering Ukrainians to kill Russians. And from an American perspective, this is a good thing.
And that the West is trying to destroy Russia.
Антироссийские действия Запада находятся вне правовых норм.
It's part of the Russian disinformation war playbook. Push out so many fake and partially true versions of a story that it becomes almost impossible to nail down what's real.
Russia has this long tradition of disinformation campaigns and coming up with new ways to spread disinformation narratives.
This video is also making the rounds in Russia.
Со мной автомобиль, который был взорван украинской диверсионной группой, погибло 3 человека.
The report claims to show the aftermath of a deadly bomb allegedly set off by Ukrainians on February 22nd.
10-й теракт, который произведен на территориях республики.
This was the first one where they were really focusing on the fact that Ukraine was targeting civilians and killing civilians in the separatist region.
Oliver Alexander is an investigator who collects and analyzes data from open sources. He's gained over 38,000 Twitter followers for his work debunking videos from all over the world. He says upon close inspection, things didn't really add up.
The damage to the car isn't indicative of what you'd expect from an explosion that then caused the car to catch fire like this. The holes in the side are very uniform, very round, more indicative of a bullet hole. The driver in particular, you can see in the skull, has cuts here that are very obviously made post-mortem for an autopsy.
Another network also showed the same incident. This time, the bodies of the victims were blurred, making it harder to tell that this video is fake.
I think it is incredibly difficult for members of the public to actually scrutinize all of this information that they may be seeing.
Abbas Pangjwani is an open source investigator at Full Fact, a UK-based fact-checking nonprofit.
I think a lot of the public's ability to scrutinize the information is going to come via intermediaries like fact-checking organizations or open source researchers. You can't even get access to them due to language barriers or other barriers in the countries that are most affected by the propaganda. You're starting at a massive disadvantage to actually be able to see through all of this misinformation and disinformation.
While Russia has repeatedly bombed Ukrainian schools and hospitals, broadcasts blame Ukrainian forces for the same kinds of war crimes inside their own country.
Орудия крупнокалиберные, минометы размещаются во дворах жилых домов, вблизи школ и детских садов.
In February, the Russian military accused Ukraine of attacking this kindergarten, and Russia claimed it was located in a part of Ukraine held by Russian separatists.
Все написали про эти садик в станице Луганской. Никто не перепроверил, да?
But the Russian claim about where the kindergarten was debunked by open source investigators.
The building wasn't in the location that they had initially claimed. It was in Ukrainian military-controlled territory.
The Russian Ministry of Education responded in this video designed to explain the war to Russian children.
И таких фейков, поверь мне, очень много. И с каждым днем их становится все больше и больше. Ракета, попавшая в детский сад.
Russia has also denied well-documented evidence that the Russian military is attacking civilian targets.
Удары исключали поражение гражданской инфраструктуры и жилых домов.
Сегодня сделал и пресс-секретарь президента Дмитрий Песков. Цитата. «Российские войска в ходе спецоперации не осуществляют каких-либо ударов по объектам гражданской инфраструктуры».
During the first week of the war, the Russian government and state broadcasts showed these videos. They claimed the BBC falsely accused Russia of shelling this residence in Kharkiv.
А вот на самом деле, что было в реальности. Это Донецк. Это жилой дом в Донецке.
Не хочу говорить так, есть у нас шансы. Конечно, есть. Правда, она всегда победит. Эти фейки, люди живут в фейковой реальности.
We checked, and this building is in fact in Donetsk, where Russia says it is. But the BBC never actually claimed otherwise. This image was taken from the site's live updates blog, where the video keeps changing, somewhat like autoplay. The article they point to doesn't mention the building. State-owned TV networks also have a long history of railing against the US and NATO. And even the Western experts they feature support that message.
The Ukrainians are in the middle. They're the ones that are the ones getting shot. They're fighting and dying for the U.S., not for their own independence.
Most people who observe this country know that you really can't trust what the United States says in terms of its foreign policy. We are pretty notorious for doing whatever we want.
They've even added subtitles to American talk shows to help defend the Kremlin.
Hating Putin has become the central purpose of America's foreign policy. Very soon, that hatred of Vladimir Putin could bring the United States into a conflict in Eastern Europe. Before that happens, it might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much?
In this leaked memo obtained by Mother Jones, the Kremlin even recommends that Russian broadcasters use as many Tucker Carlson clips as possible because he sharply criticizes the provocative behavior of Western leaders.
Интересно, когда Такера Карлсона уже посадят как российского агента?
And over the course of the conflict, misinformation has come from all sides. Shortly after the invasion, Western media outlets showed this video of Ukrainian men standing up to Russians at Snake Island, off the coast of Ukraine.
It was claimed that they'd been killed. All of them had been killed, and they were offered, military honors posthumously by the President Zelensky.
Then, a couple of days later, Russian news released this video, showing that the men were actually alive, and that turned out to be true. But Peter Adams, who works as a misinformation specialist for the News Literacy Project, says he's seen several examples of non-Russian accounts posting fake videos.
It gives Russian government disinformation sources more fodder, right, to say that other people are engaged in lying and trying to deceive you.
Like this video game footage, for example. A Facebook account said it showed Russia attacking Ukraine.
You have a what appears to be a Phalanx Sea-Wiz close-in weapon system firing thousands of rounds towards this, which first of all is not a weapon system Ukrainians have, and second of all, it fires 20mm cartridges and the plane gets hit several times and nothing really happens with it. Videos from video games being shared as actual conflict videos is extremely prevalent, and it happens in almost every conflict. It's happened many times, especially even on mainstream media.
The Russian Ministry of Education used the video game example to teach children about misinformation coming from the West.
Кто-то даже берет кадры из компьютерных игр, докладывает звук и выдает за правду. Прежде чем размещать какую-либо информацию в социальных сетях, обязательно необходимо проверить достоверность этих источников.
But debunking fake videos that push the Kremlin line could get you arrested in Russia. And a new law threatens journalists with a 15-year prison term for contradicting the government, including by calling the war a war, rather than a special military operation.
О проведении специальной военной операции.
Специальная военная операция на территории Украины.
Продолжается специальная военная операция.
And as the violence escalates, experts say, so will attempts to control the narrative.